my channel. In today's video we are continuing on with our Christmas in July tag series. This is part 3. I apologize in advance. I did something weird when I was recording. I'm not even sure what I did, but the picture frame is kind of odd. I apologize for that, but time was of the essence, so we continued on. So what we're doing here is I am showing you some of the products I'm using. Right here I have a Sizzix and Tim Holtz die set. This is $66.15.99. I'm using 2 of the larger snowflakes from that set. This is a Pinkfresh Studio tag die set. I apologize, I don't know which one it is. I know that I bought it this year, so it should still be available, but I'm almost certain it is from Pinkfresh Studio. And it comes with all these like dies that you can cut out things from the main die, and I think that's really cool, and I'll be using that a little more in the future. So I'm using just the large plain die from that one. We're bringing back that Altenew holiday tag sentiment set. I'm going to be using a Warm Wishes and the Scripty To and From that. These are the tags that it cut out from that Pinkfresh Studio tag. I'm trying to show you here, it kind of left an indentation where that hole was, and I'm going to show you how I kind of get rid of some of that. I cut those snowflakes from this memory box. This is called, wait for it, Memory Box Majestic HUES Glitter Pad. And I believe I got this at Hobby Lobby. I'm also using some Paper Studio patterned paper and gold cardstock. This one, there's Old World and then there's Winter. I believe both of these are still available. The Winter one, just to forewarn, is kind of like copy paper weight. So it's not a very heavyweight paper, just so you're aware. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the kind of flat end of my bone folder and just the back end of that glitter paper pad and just running my bone folder over that, trying to kind of get rid of some of that indentation that the die left. If that doesn't bother you, you don't even notice it, don't worry about it. You can absolutely forego this step. Does it get rid of it completely? No, it does not. Does it help, and do I think it's kind of worth it? Yes, I do. So that's all I'm doing there. And then I hadn't poked out all of the innards of some of these dies. So I'm just taking a Tim Holtz like pokey tool and poking those out. I have had this pokey tool for a very long time. In fact, I have bent it. So it can take a beating. We'll say that. So what I'm doing here is I wanted to kind of lay this pattern paper down at an angle. So all I'm doing is kind of going corner to one corner of that die. So that top right, kind of like a shoulder piece, I guess you could say, of that, and then that bottom left-hand corner. And I'm going to hold that in place, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to use a pencil to outline that. This way I'm not getting glue where I don't want it, and because this particular pattern is on that kind of copyweight paper, if I were to use a liquid glue, you'd see it. It would kind of warp the paper a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just using a dry adhesive here. That is also from Amazon, just to kind of tack that down. Here I'm taking my scissors and just cutting along those lines. And when I lay this down, if there's any hanging over, I can cut it off with these same scissors. And there was just a little bit, not enough to be really noticeable, but I knew it was there, so I trimmed it off. So I'm just going to take this dry adhesive, and I'm going to grab just a piece of scrap paper, just to kind of protect my work surface, because it's a lot easier to clean up that than get glue off of my glass mat. It does come off just fine. I'm just being lazy, and I'd rather throw away a piece of scrap paper than have to clean my glass mat. So, you know, there's that. We're just being honest here today. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm using my glass board to help me kind of level this out and make sure I get it straight. That's just a tip. If you're trying to line up something, particularly with a dry adhesive that adheres really fast and doesn't really leave you a whole lot of wiggle room, using your desktop to find a flat edge and a straight flat edge is really helpful. using your work surface to do that. So there you saw me just kind of trimming off a little bit that was left over and doing that. So we're going to repeat this for this one. Now, what was nice about that other one is it had a straight edge. So I'm discovering here that I don't have a straight edge, or I don't have enough of this pattern paper that I kind of chopped out. If I try to use the straight edge that's on there, I don't have enough of this pattern paper. But then I don't have a straight edge if I scoot it over. So I end up taking out my paper trimmer and kind of cutting along one of these edges to give me a straight edge. So all I do is put like a corner and another corner into there and chop that off, and that gives me a straight edge. So if you've got a piece of paper that's kind of an odd shape, but you really want to use it and it's all that you've got left, this is an easy way to kind of create a straight edge. Just find kind of where you need it to be a straight edge, maybe put some tick marks on the back of that paper, and then slice along it and give yourself a straight edge so that you can use whatever pattern paper that you want to use. So I'm doing the same thing, just going to outline that on the back, use my scissors to trim it out, and adhere it down with that dry adhesive. I wanted a piece of gold to just kind of break up this and soften this edge here. So I'm taking some some gold metallic cardstock from Paper Studio, and I'm just cutting out a 1/4 inch strip using my paper trimmer, and then I'm just going to lay that and butt it right up against this pattern paper just to make sure there's no gaps. Just butt it right up against. And this I am going to use liquid glue just so I have a little bit of wiggle room, and I can have a little more precision because my dry adhesive there is a bit wider than this paper, and so I really don't want to have to fiddle with that. Liquid glue is just easier, and it gave me some wiggle room. So I'm just running a thin bead right along the edge of that pattern paper, and I'm going to lay this metallic gold cardstock in that glue, and I will do that for both of these. And all I'm going to do is flip them to the back and cut off what's hanging off. So you see me doing that, just cutting off that excess. I find it helpful to cut it off from the back, but if you find it easier for yourself to cut, excess paper off from the front, you do you. So whatever works easier for you. It's just easier for me to do it from the back. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adhere these stars. Not stars. These are snowflakes, folks. I'm tired. I have a like a 7-week-old, so, and a 2-year-old. I'm tired. I don't even know how old these kids are. I'm that tired. Anyways, we are going to just use some liquid glue in the very middle. I kind of liked the idea of kind of the arms of these. I'm going to call them arms. I really don't know if that's what they are. I don't know snowflake anatomy, but I'm going to use just liquid glue in the very middle because I liked the idea of these arms of these snowflakes just kind of popping up and not being glued flat. If you are hand delivering these to someone, you could actually zhuzh. Thank you, Laura Basson. You could zhuzh and kind of lift the arms of these snowflakes and give them some more air and some more lift from the tag itself, and that would be very beautiful. If you don't want to do that, or you're not hand delivering it and you're worried about these getting tore up, then go ahead, by all means, adhere everything down flat. These are pretty thin, so it might be a good idea to, when you're die cutting these out, cut them out with some like double-sided sticky sheets so that they act more like a sticker, or maybe spray some spray adhesive on the back. I know some people are kind of anti spray adhesive, so using a glitter or another like dry adhesive dot runner would be a good idea. I showed you there some like grommets and eyelets and brads and stuff. Those are a mixture from Amazon and from Paper Studio at Hobby Lobby. I honestly don't know which are which and what came from where, but those are two options of places you can get these from, very inexpensive. I'm taking my CROP-A-DILE and I'm just going to set these grommets. I don't have the instruction sheet anymore, so I just kind of fiddle and figure out what actually sets these well. So I'm not very technical with it. I know I probably should be better, but I'm not. So those are now set. So all I'm going to do now is, I felt like the top of those tags was kind of bare. I kind of wish that I would have used a colored cardstock instead of white, but I didn't. Decisions were made, so I felt like this top corner was a little bare. So I'm going to use that sentiment set from Holiday Tags from Altenew, and I picked out Warm Wishes, and I'm going to use some Distress Oxide Ink in Lumberjack Plaid, which I felt was like absolutely perfect for these. It's like the perfect Christmas red. And I'm just going to set these in my little mini Misty and stamp those out. If I would have been planning better or, whatnot, thought of it, I would have done all of the stamping before I put the snowflake on, before I put the pattern paper on, but I didn't. So I just kind of picked a sentiment that fit in there well and kind of helped take up a lot of that white space. If you like all of that white space or you don't feel like it needs anything, then by all means leave that off. But I felt like it needed a little something in there, some sort of greeting. So I'm going to double stamp both of these, and I end up lucking out and being able to stamp them in the same position without having to reposition the stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to this other tag, and then we're going to stamp the back. I stamped the back in that same Lumberjack Plaid, and I just positioned the scripty to and from on there. That scripty font is pretty forgiving. It kind of, on the packaging, it kind of has like a downward like lean to it, but you can position that it's pretty forgiving as far as positioning, so that it looks good on the tag. And I did double stamp those. I cleaned those off, and now I have some Paper Studio red and white baker's twine, and I'm going to loop that through both of these tags, and then these will be done. So I appreciate you spending time with me. If you haven't watched any of my other Christmas in July tag videos, I encourage you to watch those. They are on my channel and ready for you to watch. But again, I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope you feel inspired, and we will see you next time. Bye.